Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. This is episode number 325 for September the 23rd, 2025. And we're right into fall, aren't we? But right here, right now, it feels more like summer because at 6 o'clock this morning, it is 18 degrees C with a high today of about 24. So summer on the calendar may be over, but it's not, doesn't feel like it's over. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, let's take a look at other things I'm okay with or getting okay with. For example, Stormy Sea. Yes, this is the quilt I've been working on since the beginning of the summer pretty much. And I'm coming along with it. Now, it doesn't look like there's much done there, but the top row blocks are one-off blocks, as is the second block in the second row. What I mean by that is they're the larger blocks, and they are you only have to make one of each one. But in the second row, and I'm very proud of this, that I got this far in there, because in the second row, the first block, there's actually 4 blocks there pinned together, and they're a combination of 2 blocks each. So yeah, it's coming along. And there are multiples up here. You can see the sticky notes, the way I label each one of the blocks with their name, so I know where to put them in the quilt when I do the final assembly. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 4. We have 11 blocks done. And there are a lot of blocks still to go. Yeah. So this is not a quilt that you want to start a week before Christmas if you were going to give it as a gift, because it is going to take you some time. But I think it's going to be gorgeous when it is done. And, you know, the batiks, I love batiks to start with, and these colors are in my color wheel. So, yeah, it's coming. I'm working on other things too at the same time. So, you know, I'm averaging a block or 2 each week. So it will be eventually done, hopefully before the end of the year. Yeah, that would be kind of nice. What else? Well, I finished this last week. This is that cute Abracadabra panel that I had difficulty getting, and then my friend Mona managed to find one and send it to me, which was great. And so as soon as I got it, I had to work on this quilt. Now, this pattern is a free pattern, but not always. You have to look for it. And I did have it in the show notes last week where you could pick it up. I think I have it in the show notes this week too, actually. It is not a well-written pattern. It's somewhat confusing. However, if you're a confident beginner, let's say, you could probably work it out. I did. And this is the end result. Now, of course, I didn't use the fabrics, all the fabrics they called for. I went through my stash of Halloween fabrics and substituted. And, you know, that's perfectly okay to do, and I think it worked out fine. But it's a fun quilt. It'll look great as part of my Halloween decor. And here's a close-up of the quilting. Lucy was very cooperative last week with me. I purchased this pantograph from, I think I got it from Urban Elements is the name of the company. They have a great selection of pantographs and edge-to-edge designs. And this is bats and stars and swirls. And as I said, Lucy was very cooperative. And this is the backing. And you can see some of the quilting on the backing too. Yeah, the backing's not strictly Halloween backing, but I had it in my stash, and I thought, hey, yeah, use it, because finding 108, and that's what I like to work with. Yes, I know I could piece a backing or whatever, but I don't like piecing backings because too many seams, and the more seams you're going over with your long arm, the more chance of frequent thread breaks, or at least that's what I have found. Maybe people who do this on a regular basis as a business have, you know, ways to get around that and do very well, but not for me. So I don't want to tempt fate, especially when Lucy is cooperating with me. So yeah, this I had in my stash, and yeah, I think it works though with it, but nobody sees the front and the back of the quilt at the same time. Well, you are right now, but that's not the normal thing, is it? So anyways, I'm very happy with the way this quilt turned out, and yeah, we can move on. that's it for Halloween stuff for this year, he says. Who knows? However, I did see this placemat pattern. I forget on which site I saw it that I kind of liked. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's not go crazy here. All right. So I think that's all I have in that to show you. Oh, one more thing. The tote bag. Now, this is that same, those felt bags I buy at Dollarama that I've been working on for as Christmas presents. I think I now have 8 bags made, 4 more to go. But I did see Kim McGowan, who is the leader of the Atlantic Embroiderers group on Facebook. She was sent me a picture of her bag that she had cut down. So I thought, that does make it a nicer size in some ways, if you don't want to give a great big huge bag as a gift, a little smaller. So I did the same. Math is hard. I had to figure out, you wouldn't think it would be that difficult, but for me it was, to figure out exactly how much I needed to cut off the panels to get it this size. I did succeed in it. The biggest problem was sewing it back together because I had to cut the middle section. The side seams and bottom are all one piece. I had to cut those down, and that meant that I sort of lost some of the creasing that was already in there. So I had to kind of recrease the bag so, it would stand up properly. But I managed to do it. I had to round the bottom too. That wasn't that hard. The piece I cut off, I just traced the curved onto that and sew it up. Will I make another one this size? Well, I might, but not right now. No, I'll just carry on with the other bags in their regular size. It's less work if I do it that way. And, right now, I'm trying to get these all done way in advance of Christmas. But Christmas is coming. Yeah, scary thought, right? Okay, so that's what I've been up to this week. So what's happening? What's coming up? What's new? Sewing with Stephen, not new, always every Wednesday. Just a tip for anybody who, comes on a regular basis. If you don't want to go into my show notes to find the link, then just copy it. What I do on my computer is I have a special little program. I think it's by Microsoft, although I'm on a Mac, but it works on a Mac, called OneNote. And I use that every day. It's where I keep track of all the things I want to do, things I want to remember. I have categories. It's right there on my computer. And I have a section for Zoom links. I have my links. I have links for other people that I go on their Zooms. And I just copy their link when it becomes available, and especially if it's a reoccurring link, and I just drop it into that particular file on my computer. And then all I have to do is just click on it when it's time to join that Zoom. I don't have to go hunting for it again. So I would suggest you do that as well, because, you start to get a little panicky. You realize you want to get on to something at a certain time, and you can't find the link. It's in an email somewhere or whatever. So if you just, copy it over, put it in a note file, whichever program you want to use, whatever works for you. It could just be a word processing file for that matter. Then it's there and you don't have to worry about it. Just a little tip. I'm sure this isn't earth-shattering, but I do know some people every week get the wrong link or can't find the link. So, yeah. Okay, so there was, speaking of links, Russ of Quilt Meets World, my friend Russ, he had his sewing shenanigans, which are kind of like my pop-up sew days, but he has them on Sundays. He doesn't have them every Sunday. They're, whenever the whim and his schedule work out, he puts them up. And so he had one this past Sunday, and I got a lot done on Sunday. It was kind of great. It was kind of fun not having to be the host of a Zoom, because then I can just be like anybody else, and I don't have to worry about putting people in the spotlight, helping people out with technical problems, although I did anyways. I'm just there, and I got a lot done doing that. So yeah, if you've never been to one of Russ's sewing shenanigans, he usually has them on a Sunday. not every Sunday. Just watch his channel. Usually on his vlogs on Wednesdays, he will announce when he is doing his next sewing shenanigans. And he does have a mailing list. And so if you send him an email, and he has his email on his channel, he'll put you on the mailing list, and you'll get the link for the next time he has a sewing shenanigans. So you might want to try it out. It's lots of fun. Okay, retreat update. There will be a special video I haven't made. It is scheduled to appear on my channel on October the 1st. And in that video, you will hear all about how you register, when you register, and everything else you need to know about the Idiot Quilter Fall 2025 retreat. So as I said, that comes out 1 week from this Wednesday at the time of this recording. So in other words, October the 1st. Do tune into it. It's a short video, but it has everything you need to know right there. And before you know it, the retreat will be here. And the retreat is on October the 25th itself. But you need to register for it in advance. Okay. In the video, we'll tell you how you do that and when you can do that. All right, so Oliso sent me my new replacement mini iron. It arrived on Sunday, and so there it is, nice and shiny and new. I have to say, Oliso's customer support is excellent. You know, I dropped my iron by accident. It didn't crack it or break it open or anything like that, but it just didn't turn on. And they sent me a replacement. It was still under warranty. They covered it. Wonderful. They kept me in the loop every step of the way as to when they were going to send it out to me and all that kind of stuff. I did have to cut the cord on the old one, which is fine. It doesn't work. So Walter wants to tinker with it, but I don't know when he will. It's sitting on his little graveyard of stuff on his workbench that, yeah, you thought his sewing room was a mess. You haven't seen his workbench. But anyways, so yeah, so now I have two, because right after this one gave up the ghost, I went on Amazon and ordered another one immediately and got it the same day. So I have two. And, you know, if one's good, two are better. And I put the new one is in its little special case that I have for it. And it's in my sewing bag for travel. Because, one, I will always know where it is if I need it again. And two, hey, it's one less thing I need to pack if I'm going off to, you know, a class or a retreat. Don't do that very often. Haven't done it in quite a while, but I am going off to a sew day with Walter, to one of his sew days in a few weeks' time. I decided I would go, and so I'll be taking it with me then. But if you don't have one of these irons, and if you've been thinking about buying one, I highly recommend them. This is the best little mini iron I have ever bought. It does do steam. I don't put any water in it, though, because I don't do steam anymore. I used to steam everything. Got me into a lot of trouble, I found. But it heats right up. Within 30 seconds, you're at full temperature. And it fits nicely in the hand. And if you've ever used their first version of this, that one was bad. Bad because you'd burn your knuckles the way the handle was designed. But they figured that out, and this version, their second version of it, no problem at all with that. With burning your knuckles or anything like that. And it comes with this little silicone pad that you can put it on while you're using it. And if you want to store it, you flip it over to the other side and it clips right on to the base plate. It's great. I love this iron. That's why I was so desperate to get a replacement as soon as the old one hit the floor, so to speak. Yeah. Okay. So Chatty, this past week, we talked about the behind-the-scenes retreat planning, how we go about putting together the virtual retreat. I've done it so many times, it's almost I can do it in my sleep. But nevertheless, there is still a lot of work that goes into it. Excuse me. And I thought you might be interested to know how it all comes together, because there's a lot of stuff, the technical parts of it, arranging the guest speakers, organizing registration, figuring out the dates, the prizes, everything like that. So if you're interested in a behind the scenes look at that, then check out So Chatty from last Friday. So what are we doing this week for So Chatty? I don't know. We'll see. That's all I can tell you, because I don't know. I have an idea in the back of my head. I don't know if I'm going to go with it or not. I got to bounce it off of Walter. He'll probably just tell me to go away. And maybe he's got some ideas. Yeah, sometimes he does. Most times he doesn't. So, but there'll be something. I can tell you that. There will be something. Okay, so that takes me to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. And this beautiful creation comes from Becky McElliott. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Becky McElliott, and Becky writes, "Just finished this pineapple quilt and was delighted that my long armor was able to use a variegated thread that really set off all the colors in the quilt. I got to use my pineapple trim tool ruler and finished it in about a week. The backing is the same fabric as the binding. Total measurement is approximately 62 by 72. Well, Becky, this is beautiful. And I do love the quilting that's on it as well. But I love the variegation in the colors and the little cornerstones that set things off as well. This is a beautiful quilt, and you should be very proud of it. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. Now, the YouTube channel of the week is one that it was definitely clickbait. I do not like to promote this particular company, because I really think that they are not any different from a used car salesman. However, I know that they are extremely popular for many of you. But the title of it, the clickbait, got me, and it said, "We made a plastic quilt." Actually, my friend Russ put me onto this because he knows about my obsession with my 3D printers, and that's what this is about. Plus, I am always looking for ways to combine my two worlds, my 3D printing world with my quilting world. But this one is kind of interesting. I don't think I'm going to do it, but here's my review of that YouTube video clip from So Yeah that you might be interested in. This week's YouTube video clip comes from the So Yeah guys, and they're at it again doing weird things. And here's another weird thing, but it was right up my alley. It's where I bring two worlds together, the quilting and 3D printing. And what they were showing in this video is how you could possibly make a quilt, and I'm heavy on the word possibly make a quilt, using your 3D printer. They've essentially print out plastic sheets and sew them together in a very simple quilt pattern. Now, you can't quilt this because it's plastic. You can't press it because it's plastic. So how do they go about doing this? Well, more than anything, I think this is a bit of a novelty, but it does get the ideas churning around in your brain as to how can I blend my two worlds of 3D printing and quilting. There are possibilities, I think. I don't think this is one of them, but you be the judge. So check out We Made a Plastic Quilt at So Yeah. So the link for that is in the show notes below, and there are many links in the show notes below, so do check those out. So that takes me to future projects. You have seen the fabric for all of this. This is the table runner that I'm making as a Christmas present for my hairdresser. She had a very specific color palette that she wanted: sage, aubergine, gold, and rusty orange, or something like that. So you already saw the fabrics I picked out for this table runner, and you've seen the pattern for this. Well, you haven't really seen the pattern for this because I created the pattern for this. So that's what I want to show you now as part of my future projects. This week on Future Projects is one that I have started already working on, and it happens to be my own design. As you know, because I've mentioned it before, I am making a table runner using the color palette that my hairdresser
really likes, and that is sage greens, aubergine, gold, and off-white. So I thought I would show you what I have designed. So I designed this block in EQ8, and it's a very simple block. It's just a star block with a windmill in the center of it. What I like about the EQ8 though was I was able to put in the actual fabrics that I'm using so I get a real sense of what this is going to look like. Now I'm keeping this pattern fairly simple because I want to be able to do it fairly quickly because Christmas is coming. So I designed this table runner also in EQ8, and so you can see all my stars together, and then I've added 2 borders. Now that one sage border, the inner border, here on this diagram from EQ8 looks maybe a little wider than in reality it will be. I haven't decided how wide I will make that. In my mind, I am thinking of doing it more like a faux flange, but it might be a little bigger than a full flange. We will see. Anyways, I think it's going to look really cool when it's done, and I may write this up as a pattern and make it available free to all of you. I mean, anybody who's ever done patterns before, writing patterns, I'm sure you could figure it out from my pictures here. But nevertheless, I may create my own pattern for this. And if you're interested in some of my other patterns that I have written, because I have about 4 or 5 of them, then if you look in the show notes, you will find a link to those on my Google Drive, and they are absolutely free. Download them, do with them what you will. Because I'm not a business, so I'm not selling these kind of things. So anyways, this is a not so distant future project, which basically has a timeline. I have to have it done before Christmas.
So I have decided that I'm going to work on that when I go to Walter's in-person sew day because it's a smaller project, and with any luck, I might be able to actually get it, at least the top, done while I'm at that sew day. Okay, so what's twisting my seams? All right, I went through my stash because nobody has sent me anything, and I found something that I had bought for a ridiculously low price. I think it was at a shop hop about a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, in a little place north of me that actually doesn't exist anymore. They moved to a different town. But they are sugar skulls. But here's what I'm talking about.
So what's twisting my seams this week? Well, sugar skulls. Yes, sugar skulls. Now, I really like these. I think they're really colorful. They caught my eye. And at the time that I bought these, they were in a sale bin for about $5 a meter, so I couldn't resist. But I have no idea what to do with them. So there they've sat for the last couple of years on my shelf, just waiting for inspiration to hit. This is what I would consider, I talked last week about novelty fabrics. These are probably of that same category. You could do some fussy cutting with them, I suppose. They'd make probably a great bag, and maybe that's what I should do is go through my stash and find fabrics that I would think would make better bags than quilts. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them. The colors are great in it. Lots of things you could do with that, but they just sit there. So basically, what's twisting my seams is the fact that I got a great price on these. I loved them at the time. I still love them, and I don't have a clue what to do with them. Now, having said all of that, this is 2 weeks in a row where I have featured what's twisting my seams from my stash, and I'm not getting anything from your stash. So if I guess that maybe this is not something that's really appealing to people. So this may be the last What's Twisting My Seams segment. It was an interesting experiment. If I get some more things in from some of you, then I will continue it. But if not, then I guess, well, the writing's on the wall. I'll have to figure out something else that you might be more interested in. So if you want to send me something, my email is in the show notes.
So as I mentioned, that was from my stash. That is not what the point of What's Twisting My Seams is all about. My idea was that you would send me some pictures of fabrics that you are no longer in love with or forgot you had, that kind of thing, and I would feature them here. Unfortunately, Only a couple of you have done that, and I don't have anything to show you for next week. So unless I get some stuff before next week, I'm just going to assume that this is a segment on here I was trying as an experiment, and that's fine, that you're not really interested in it. And as such, if you're not interested in it, then I'm not going to bother with it. I'll have to figure out something else maybe to put in that time spot if I put in anything. But I'm still open to getting a picture of something that you found in your stash that, you know, at the time you bought it, there was something about it that made you buy it, but now you're not so in love with it anymore, and you can let me know what that is. But otherwise, if I've got nothing for next week, and at the time of recording for this, I do not. So what's twisting my seams may just go away. Okay. So what am I working on then besides what I've already shown you? Well, here it is.
So, what have I been working on this past week? Well, I'm out here in the Lucy room, as you can see, because there's Lucy. And above Lucy, you will see a pile of things. And the pile of things are projects I'm currently working on, my gnome tote bags for Christmas. And there's a table runner and a couple of quilts sitting there. One of them's a quilt of valor that I'm hoping this next week I will get on Lucy and get quilted. Over here is where I have some of my 3D printing items, and you can see I've got a big box of all kinds of things that I want to give to people at Christmas. Plus, I've been working on some Thanksgiving things. If we see my sister over Thanksgiving, I've got some soap holders that I've already shown you before that I've made for her, and some coasters, and I like to put at each person's place setting at the table those key rings that I showed you earlier. So I worked on those this week, and I've been working on the big Dracula castle, which I talked all about yesterday on my vlog too. And I ran into some problems with this, which was unusual, but I think I've got them solved now. So this is all out in the Lucy room. So let's go for a little walk out here. Yes, these are the grow lights. And what am I working on here? Now, right now, my bamboo printers are silent, but they are going to be up and running very shortly. Here's another bag almost done. I just have to sew it back together. Of course, I have not done a thing really. Well, I've done a little bit on Russ's sewing day of the Stormy Sea, and I showed that to you before. And of course, I have my project table, which looked the same as last week because I haven't got anything more done on that. It just seems the time gets right by you. So that's about all I've been up to in the past week.
So that takes me to online quilt stores. This one is called Sojo's, and it's in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
This week's online quilt store is one that's located in the Ottawa area of Ontario, and it's called Sojo's. And here's their opening page. And so let's just take a look at this. They do have their hours of business and how to contact them. They talk about, they have embroidery designs. They're on Facebook. They have a newsletter. They have something called the Mystery Challenge. And they look like they sell Husqvarna sewing machines. And they have classes and sewing supplies. And they have Sweet Pea and Kimberbell. And yeah, lots of information here on their front page. Okay, so let's pop up and look at their fabrics, so products we sell. What's new? Machines, sewing machine feet, sewing machine needles, sewing supplies, threads, fabrics, quilt batting, embroidery design, stabilizer and interfacing, software packages, and gift cards. Well, let's jump into fabrics and see what they have to offer. So they have fabric, fat quarter bundle, and kits. So let's start with the fabric. Batiks, fat quarter bundles, and kits. We just saw that. Pre-cut fabric, printed fabric, solids, and tone-on-tone fabrics, and wide backing. So let's jump to the printed fabrics. And they do have a filtering system where you can filter it by all of these different things. Let's look under brand. Timeless Treasures, Wilmington Prince, Northcott, Endover, Susan Wingate, and Erlyn Winderhold. Not a lot, really. If this is an accurate indication of what they're selling, view all. Oh, no, they have more. Bellolou. But really, it's like one of everything with the exception of Timeless Treasures. So let's check out the Timeless Treasures and see what we've got. Okay, Wild Poppies. I Love My Dog. Ooh, this is fun. Crazy Cats. Walter could make a good shirt out of that. Okay, a lot of novelty. And you know how I feel about novelty fabrics. This is pretty, though, with the butterflies. Timeless Treasures. I do like Timeless Treasures. Okay, well, let's go up to the one I like. Click on it and see what they're charging. This item's not available for purchase online. Oh. Okay. That's not good. Well, let's check something else. This item is not available for purchase online. Okay. Well, this is a disappointment. Let's get out of this. Let's go to the Northcott. We only have 3. Variety of prints. Black capers, okay. This item's not available on purchase online. You got to call them. So this is what, well, this is very unusual. And why bother putting up a website if you can't buy anything from it? All right, let's take a look at, go back into fabrics, fat quarter bundles. Let's see, what do we got? And it's saying you can't buy anything on there online. They don't, this is not an online store. This is basically just showing you what they may have in stock on their store. And if you want anything, you've got to call them. Well, quite frankly, that's not how you do business online. Not in this day and age. I'm really disappointed in that. That would turn me off from even dealing with them. I don't want to call to describe what I want from them. Let's look at quilt batting. I imagine that's the same. Nothing. They have nothing linked here. Okay, so let's take a look at sewing machines. Well, they have embroidery machines, overlock, quilting machines, sewing machines. And what do they show here? Product. Okay, that is a Longarm. Describes it. Doesn't talk about price, so you'd probably have to go in and check that out. Well, so far, this is not impressing me at all. I don't know if it's worth the trip to Ottawa. Let's see, threads. What do we show here? Machine embroidery thread. They have marathon. Quilting threads don't show a picture. Sewing threads. Small pictures. Serger threads don't show a picture. And specialty threads. Okay, sewing thread. Okay. Gooderman Marathon. This item's not available for purchase online. Doesn't tell you price, nothing. This is not a good online store. This is just an advertisement for the things they may have, so you physically have to go into the store. Well, let's check current classes. They talk about registration, the classes, sewing classes, learn to sew your own project, learn to sew your own project. $108 seems to be their price for a class. Doesn't say what time the class starts, but it does tell you when it ends at 4 p.m. 1 p.m. quilting classes. Free motion, $80. Quick and easy carpenter quilt. The jacket. Not impressed. Not impressed at all. Where's that when they start the class? Is there some kind of blurb? Please register. Okay. Okay, there's nothing on here that indicates at what. Okay, this one says it's at 10:15 a.m. Must be the same class, so they spread them out, so it's not even a whole day for the class. It's only a couple of hours. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, again, kind of confusing, not impressed. They have clubs. I'm not even going to bother with their clubs. Newsletter, gallery, about us. They're a Husqvarna dealer, only one in Ottawa. Visit our beautiful shop. Oh, the shop does look kind of nice. Okay. So obviously we don't have to look for shipping because they don't ship. Yeah. Okay, well, this was a quick review because what can I say about this? This is not an online store. This is an advertisement for some of the things they may have in their store. They don't talk about prices on anything. They give you a phone number to call. I mean, if you lived in the area, you could drop in, but outside of the area, no. So obviously they don't do business online. Okay, so for all those reasons and for the disappointment, I can only say that I'm going to give them a 4 out of 10. That's Sojo's in the Ottawa area. If you live there, you may want to check it out. If you live a ways from it, I guess you'll have to go somewhere else because it doesn't look like you're going to find what you want here easily. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. Just a reminder that the fall retreat is on October the 25th, Saturday, October the 25th. And stay tuned for the video that it tells you everything you need to know about the retreat, which will come out on my channel on October the 1st. And there's going to be another pop-up sew day fairly soon, Saturday, October the 11th. All the details for that will be coming out in another 2 weeks. The week, just 5 days or so before the October the 11th, whatever that is. Yeah. So I hope you have a great week. Keep being creative. And if your weather's nice right now at the beginning of fall, enjoy it because you know what's around the corner, don't you? At least here in my area. See you later. Bye for now.